I'm excited to be with you and to get painting. Now we've taken our black canvas, which is a 16 by 20 inch canvas, taken it and covered it in Bob Ross liquid clear. You need this liquid clear oil paint. It's a blending medium in order to get all of our thick oil paints to blend together, right? So let's go through all the colors that we have. And if this is your first time watching a Paint with Josh video or the 100th time you're watching a Paint with Josh video, tell me where you're watching from and what's your favorite sandwich. We'll go through all the colors that we have. We have bright red, sap green, Van Dyke brown, dark sienna, cad yellow over here, yellow ochre over there, phthalo green, which just wants to drip all the way down the palette, Prussian blue, alizarin crimson, midnight black, and titanium white. So, okay, we're gonna take a 2-inch brush, just like this, gorgeous 2-inch brush. And first we have to lay down some undercolors, is what I call them. What do we want our aurora borealis waterfall to look like, right? Well, let's decide maybe we had a little bit of that phthalo green over here, and we just blend it onto the canvas, right? It stays very dark. It's called a transparent color. So it'll stay dark, and it'll allow all of our white to pick up and have all these different amount of hues and brightness levels, and oh, it's gonna be fantastic. So take your green, kind of put it up in the right corner, down over here, and then we'll take our blue, right? We'll go into the Prussian blue, come over here, we'll drop that onto the left corner and just work them back and forth in between each other, because I never like it to be like one square. You know what I mean? Excuse me. I don't know why I'm so burpy tonight. Oh man, so had an excellent time on vacation. Let me see where you guys are watching from. Again, tell me where you're watching from. What's your favorite sandwich? Lake Village? No, this is oils. These are big, thick, giant piles of oil paint. And they take a long time to dry. They're very different from acrylic paints. My techniques won't really work with acrylic paints. I've seen people do my paintings with acrylic paints, but they don't, the same techniques don't work because the acrylic paint would be dry by now, you know what I mean? And these oils are gonna stay wet for a long time. Allow us to blend and work and do all the things we need to do. Maybe a little phthalo green over here, just so it's a little different. I love having little differences in color, right? So we just went through a straight little swipe of green. Maybe there's one up here. Just all depends. Where do you want your color to be? That's what I always say. Where do you want it to be? Because yours is gonna be a little bit different than mine is gonna be. And that's okay, right? Get all those colors all mixed up together. Look at how gorgeous that brush is. Oh, I want my car to be that color. Look at that. It's like a deep blue-green. Fantastic. Now remember, anywhere that the canvas doesn't have paint on it will show super bright white when we hit it with our white paint. So make sure anywhere that you want to use your auroras is going to be covered, right? Because if you don't have it covered, it's going to be super bright. So again, last time, tell me where you're watching from, what's your favorite sandwich. You're going to be able to name this painting by the time we get done, so start thinking of names, and then you're also going to be able to buy this painting before we can even finish it, right? I've had them the last, we went like 12 nights in a row where we went live, and every single night I sold more than one painting. It was amazing. And I was like, this is it. If I can do this again next week, then I'm gonna tell my job that I quit, and I'm gonna be a professional artist, because you guys are just, with all the amount of support that I've had through all my channels, you guys are just amazing. So I'm so close to being a professional, right? I mean, I'm already a professional, but actually doing it and not having any other income, that's the scary part, right? So tell me where you're watching from, what's your favorite sandwich, and you can buy this painting. Go to paintwithjosh.etsy.com. You're buying it from me, Paint with Josh, Etsy star seller, 12-time star seller. Paintwithjosh.etsy.com. You can buy this painting. So let's see. I'm also filming a tutorial, so you'll be able to watch this over on YouTube in about a couple weeks. Thanks for all the follows, guys. North Carolina, I saw right before we came back in front. Now, if you go over to my my Etsy shop and you're in the mood to make a purchase, go over to my Etsy shop, type in the search bar TikTok or 687, and you'll pull up this painting. Now we're gonna get our big old fan brush and just chuck it full of this white paint. Gorgeous. Now, not just white, right? We're gonna get a little bit of yellow, gonna come over here, and we're about to just lay down the most gorgeous little auroras you've ever seen, right? Come over here like this, and maybe off to the side, we had like a little far away one. Just like that. Nothing else you really need, right? Maybe we'll tap in just a couple little bits of like extraness, right? Just in case. And the way we do that, you're looking at the painting going, man, he just messed that all up, right? The way we're gonna do our auroras is we're gonna pick a direction in which we want them to flow, and we're gonna pull in that direction. So a lot of mine have been going to the left, so why don't we make ours go this way, right? We'll take this over here, just small little flicks, see that? Just like that. Line it up again, another little flick. Same direction though. Another little flick. Another little flick. Where we added that extra paint, you'll get extra bright areas, right? Very cool. Just like that. Literally it. Bang, boom, bam. Auroras. Quick and easy. Couple little swipes down just to soften the bottom. Same direction though. Don't pull them in a different direction. That'll look weird. Very cool. All right, now what we're gonna do is when we went across all that color, you can see in our yellow, we picked up all the green and the blue that was all over the canvas. So let's wash this off. We'll use the same brush, right? Shake it into a can, beat the devil out of it. Oh, right into the bucket. Just real quickly, if you've never seen the beater bucket before, the old Paint with Josh beater bucket, it's a 5-gallon bucket with a golf ball basket down in the bottom of it. And you're like, why a golf ball basket? And I'm like, well, that's the only thing that I had in my garage when I very first started painting. I'm a painter on a budget. And like you guys, I didn't want to go out and buy something special just to beat the brush on. I was like, oh, I've got this. I'll use that, see what happens, right? And it works amazingly. Okay, let's come over here. We're gonna load up that same color onto the brush. Nice clean brush, clean, dry brush. A little bit of yellow. Come in here. Fantastic. Again, you guys can buy this painting before we're even finished. paintwithjosh.etsy.com. Come in here with this yellow like that. And who knows, maybe we just left a whole bunch bigger, right? And come back and connect them just like that. Very cool. Leaving those little extra dabs in different places, right? And we come down here. Yes, just like that, right? What's cool is you can always add more. You can make it brighter. You can make it softer. We're gonna come back in with the 2-inch brush, pulling in those same directions, right? But I don't wanna go too far out. And then we're gonna come up here, same thing, pulling down. Very cool. Very cool. Very bright areas. You get all these neat little colors. Fantastic, right? Very neat. I like that. That's very cool. Right? Doesn't all have to be the same. Doesn't all have to look the same. It just has to flow in the same directions. And that's what it's about. Very cool. Why don't we do one more little bit? We'll come in here, mix up that white and yellow again. And again, yours is going to be slightly different. We're not going to have the same amount of color. We're not going to have the same amount of brightness, right? And we came in like that. Again, adding little different bits. Smacking them in. Now, these guys were pulling up in that same direction. Out that way. And then in here, coming in, swiping up, and they come down. Oh, it's just fantastic, you guys. It's fantastic. I love that. Look at that. That is cool. We almost forgot about this guy down here. There we go. Right, they don't all have to be the same length or anything. Man, very, very cool. You know what? If we had like the smallest little guy out here, much less paint, right? What are the 3 P's of Paint with Josh? The amount of paint on the brush, the amount of pressure we're pushing on the canvas, right? And practice, of course. And just with a little less amount of paint on there, you get these very cool things. Thanks for all the taps, guys. No, it's not neon paint, and yes, we are painting the Northern Lights. So this is Bob Ross oil paint. We have Gamblin 1980 is the red and yellow for today. The white is Winsor & Newton. I use all the paints. It doesn't matter to me which one they are. If they work well, then I like them. And we use them, right? Very cool. Again, yours isn't gonna be the most amazing thing. It's never gonna be the most perfect thing either, so don't worry about it. The auroras are a big bunch of randomness. So make yours random and it'll be cool. It'll be cool. All right, let's put this giant mountain in. I've had this idea for this big old mountain scene. Maybe we'll do like a waterfall, look really cool. So we're gonna come in here and grab a little bit of our black, a little bit of our crimson, a little bit of our blue, and mix those up into this dark purpley color. It's fantastic. Just like this, scraping up. Now we're gonna come in. I'm gonna add the smallest bit of white. You guys don't have to when you're doing the tutorial. You don't have to add the white, but it makes it easier for the audience to see. And you just don't want it to be too bright, right? That's why I know I don't like using the white except for when we're on camera, because I like it to be nice and dark back there, right? Paint with Josh paintings are dark and mysterious. So remember, tell me where you're watching from, guys. What's your favorite sandwich? And let's come in and just make the most gigantic mountain you've ever seen. Right here, scraping up a little bit of that. And we've got to come up and cover some of our auroras, right? You can't show every single piece. And we're only really worried about what the top edge looks like. Doesn't matter about anything else, right? except that top line. Maybe we came way up over here. I love a good steep, jagged mountain, leaving some of that aurora back in there behind it. Very neat, right? Scraping up some of that paint, not having it be the most perfect little triangular shape, leaving all these little dips and all these cool little things, right? Now, come in and scrape all that out. Have you ever been making a mountain and it takes over your whole canvas? It's probably because you didn't scrape up all the excess paint. And the 3 Ps of Paint with Josh. What are the 3 Ps, guys? If you're a Paint with Josh follower, even if you've only watched one of my videos, you should know the 3 Ps of Paint with Josh. What are the 3 Ps? Tell me in the comments right now. Come up with the 3 Ps. I just did it about a month and a half ago and said, you know, this is actually a really cool thing, right? It's the amount of paint on the brush, the amount of pressure that we push on the canvas, and practice, right? 3 Ps. So no paint on the brush because all of our paint's up here. And that way we can judge based on our pressure how far our mountain's gonna grow by how much we're pushing, right? Maybe we came down here, we turned a different direction. Came down that way, came over here, went down this way. And then maybe this peak came down and shot in front, right? You decide what you want yours to look like. And then once you've decided, you're like, okay, I dig that. We're gonna rock and roll. Now you have a little guide about how your mountain should look, right? You've already pulled it out. And now all you gotta do is go back and fill it in, color in the lines, right? Let's wash that brush off. So we've got, what, 2,600 people last time I saw. How many, tell me where you guys are watching from. I wanna know. Are we all over the world? Are we in the US? 2,800 people now. And remember guys, my like to beat is like 680,000 taps on the screen. So you guys are gonna have to work to get that like to beat record. If you wanna be the best audience I've ever painted in front of, you better be tapping that screen, right? Okay, let's get our big old brush. We're gonna have to make up some color here. So tell me where you're watching from. What's the last emoji that you sent over to your girl or your guy, right? What's the last emoji you sent? I want to see that in the comments. A little bit of our green and blue and a little bit of that white mix, just so we have this kind of bluish color. I'm going to take a little bit of our purple color, mix that in, and that kind of dulls it down smallest bit to where you have this kind of light bluish gray, leaving all those little differences in there, right? And then we'll come in, and we might as well just mix up all this yellow. I mean, we could mix it up, we could get rid of it. We could do all sorts of things. Let's put it over here. I don't want to use it yet. I don't want to use it and I don't want to get rid of it. So let's go down in here. Maybe we'll take the slightest bit of our phthalo green and mix it up into our highlight pile here, which I never make enough of. So probably have to go back and make some more. Now I don't want the paint to be green. I want it to look white. So very, 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 very small amount of the phthalo green when you're going to mix it in. And then once we have it, we're going to get our knife. And come back over here. This is a little bit smaller mountain, so we'll go with the smaller knife. I like doing the shadows first, so we're gonna scrape. And let's decide all of our shadows came off the back side of the mountain. Just such light pressure, look at this. And then wherever your little ridges were, that's where you go back and you lay your little shadows in, or your highlights, or this or that. You just kind of drop them in there, right? Very cool. Not worrying about anything really, because you can always go back in and you can cover over different little things. Maybe there's a little valley in here. That'd be kind of neat. That would be neat, right? Maybe, I don't know, it kind of meshed up over here. It went down this way. You got all sorts of little things happening in there. All sorts of colors, all sorts of angles, all sorts of stuff going on, right? It's just a big mess. Every time we're painting a mountain or a cloud or anything, it's just a big mess. That's all nature is, just a big random mess. She's a mess, old Mother Nature. Now we're gonna take our 2-inch brush, still have all that green paint on it, doesn't matter. I'm not trying to move the paint, right? A pressure, second P, pressure. Very light amount of pressure. And that way, it just softens it, right? It blurs it just a little bit in those same angles that we went, right? So if we came down this way, we need to go back. If we went up this way, we need to go that, you know what I mean? All depends on how you did it. So, which is why I always say yours is gonna be a little bit different than mine. And all we're doing is softening that little layer of paint. And that way, anything that we stick in front of it, little trees, something else, we'll have cool, it'll be a softer area and easier to work with, right? All right, tell me where you're watching from. What is your paintiversary, right? My paintiversary is April 12th. It's coming up. When did you first start painting? Hit me with the date. I know if you're an artist, you know your paintiversary. When did you first start? I'm gonna come in with that light color right up into the tip of the mountain and just jaggedy. Look at that. Oh, it's just lovely. See how those light and blues play off each other? And come back up in here, so lightly grabbing, but not filling in everything. Gotta have little spots of darkness, right? Everybody's got a little darkness in them somewhere. Gotta have a little bit of dark, right? Have them slide down, not connecting every single piece, right? Just coming down off the cliff, maybe a little bit of shadow back in there. We start lining up with our little bit of our valley here and there and everywhere, right? I'm gonna come over onto our big old side over here and come up here, very light pressure, pull it off. So lightly touching the canvas. It's just so small. It's like you're trying to just like a baby's face, and you're like, oh, I don't want to wake this little baby, but I just want to give him a little stroke on the cheek, right? That's all I want to do, but I don't want to wake him up, because then we're going to have to go back to paint. We're going to have to back to babysitting. We're going to have to stop painting. I just want to go check on just little tiny pressure, right? If you wake him up, now we can't paint anymore. So, very cool. Smallest bit, since we have a little bit left, will come up onto the tip right up there. Remember, you guys can buy this painting before anyone else can get it. Go to paintwithjosh.etsy.com and you can buy it right now at 40% off with free shipping. So I'm an Etsy star seller, which means you have nothing to worry about. I've got a wicked reputation on Etsy that I plan on keeping. So I do everything I can to make your order and ordering the best thing that's ever happened to you, right? Oh, why don't we come down like this? Oh, that looks cool, right? And you decide what you want your mountain to look like. I say it all the time. Let's take a little bit of darkness and we'll pull that deep dark of our mountain down here. And just like that, we've made another little section, right? Just like that. So cool, but you gotta go back and put that dark in. You have to, otherwise it's not gonna make any sense. Back with our little bits of shadows, little things, little bit different angle, right? And all of a sudden, we've got a really cool little thing happening down here that's just one more little piece to look at, right? One more little layer of depth. Maybe this guy came up onto the edge. Oh, gotta actually have some paint on the knife, Josh, if you're gonna do it. There we go. Right, coming down to Chinatown. That looks wicked. Oh, I love that. That is just gorgeous. Okay, we're gonna take that 2-inch brush again and come in like this, flipping it, and then again, we went this way with our knife, so we need to slide it back up into the mountain so softly and start from the edge, because if you drop these little things, some of the times they'll mess with you. So start from the edge, and that way you can get rid of them. So soft. Oh my goodness. So soft going up that way, right? Now, I don't recommend you beginners do this. The more experienced painters, go ahead and try, right? Just a little bit of pressure. Again, pressure is key. Paint, pressure, practice, right? The 3 P's of Paint with Josh. And you can paint literally anything with the 3 P's. You can paint a mountain, you can paint a cloud, you can paint whatever you want to paint. 3 P's of Paint with Josh, as long as you have the right amount of paint on your brush or your knife or whatever, the right amount of pressure on the canvas, and the right amount of practice, right? Then you're going to be really good at it. So, especially since I came up with the 3 P's, you should be very good at it by now. There we go. I'm always trying to find the easiest way to explain something to you guys, right? Because, I mean, it's hard. I struggled for so long in the beginning trying to figure out, because I could never afford a class, and I couldn't take time off of work, and I couldn't go be a CRI. I couldn't even afford to go. I can't even afford to fly to Illinois or wherever they hold the class, Indiana, wherever they hold the class, right? I couldn't even afford that. So I studied Bob Ross, and I watched his videos, and I would try to see what he wasn't saying, what he was doing, but he wasn't saying, right? He wasn't telling us everything, because who could tell us everything in just that short amount of time? Let's take this brush over here. And so that's how I taught myself, you know what I mean? And I think people like that you don't have to, I'm kind of proof positive. You don't have to take a class. I never went to art school. I don't know what I'm doing, right? We just paint until it looks right. I'm gonna come up here, just softening the edges, right? Tapping a couple times, bringing it down, bringing it down, bringing it down. Just making it soft for our next little layer. And that way we can put some trees in front or whatever we decide to do. Makes us a little bit of fogginess, a little bit of color, right? So now it's not pure black anymore. We have that little bit of background color, a little mist that we can bounce off of. Very cool. Okay, tell me where you're watching from, guys. I'm gonna come back here and check out these comments. Thank you for all the follows, guys. Every time I look back here, it's like followed host, followed host, followed host, followed host. You love the colors, I appreciate it. It looks like we got people over in the Etsy store right now. And, okay, here we go. All right, guys. You guys are awesome. Tap the screen. Remember, up here, 680,000 taps, something crazy we had on one live. That's the like to beat. So if you want to be the best audience I've ever painted in front of, make sure you tap that screen a million times, right? All right, we're gonna take that dark color, we're gonna come in here, and we just have to add a few little bits of like far off little foresty trees. Paint 1,000 trees in a second, right? Just come down like that, popping them in, a little bit of darkness. Don't want to go all the way to the edge. Oh, look at the, that's why you have that light color back there. So you can come in with these dark trees. Ooh, that's a spooky bit of forest back there, guys. I don't know that I want to go back there. I had plans on taking a walk back here, but it looks so spooky and dark at night that I get scared. Does anyone else get scared at night? Like, be serious. Let's stop being tough guys and tough ladies, okay? Does anyone, like, when it's dark out and quiet, like we were just at my cabin in Utah, and my goodness, when it is night, it is night. Like, there is no light. And it is kind of spooky with how dark it is out there. It's just crazy. And pop in a little bit of just an old daddy tree out there. Just it helps our brains go, oh, okay, all those little hash marks must be little pine trees, because now I see it, right? Now I can see, because we got a little bit of detail out there on one. Very cool. Need to fix the tip top though. Don't want to go too high up into our bit of that white paint. It gets harder and harder and harder to create anything, really, to have your paint stick or anything. That's a cool looking little tree back there. Okay, now these guys all back there, they're not our detail. No one's gonna be looking back here, except for Melanie, because she bought it. So she's gonna be looking at every single piece of it. But normally, no one's really looking at these dark trees way back here. So you don't need a whole lot of detail. Just have one guy back there, the big old Mac daddy of the forest, Return of the Mac, right? Over here. And that way it'll look very cool. All these, everyone else will go, pine trees, I get it, I see. I see what you did there. I see what you did there. All right, come up a little bit higher, a little bit lower. Hiding some of our mountain. Gotta push it back, right? It's the most fun part. Okay, take our 2-inch brush again. Very softly, because we don't want a lot of texture on these trees back here. These are not our focal point. We don't want to see these trees. All right, we come in here like that. Tapping it down, bringing any amount of that dark color, allowing it to mix. And the most important thing it's doing, blending those colors together, right? Softening it for the next little layer. Because if you don't soften it down, then it's gonna be hard to put oil on top of oil on top of oil on top of oil, right? It just doesn't work like that. So thank you guys all for, every time I look back here, there's more people watching, more people following. I think I had 159,500 when we started. So we'll see where we are when we finish up. But you guys are amazing. Thank you for all the follows. I really appreciate it. Let's come in here now. Maybe we'll have that little waterfall like I was talking about come out of here. So let's add a few little foreground trees. We're gonna pop a little bit of grass in, and then we're gonna be good. So if you like waterfalls, stay tuned, because we're about to paint the most gorgeous waterfall you've ever seen after I wash these brushes. Right after the break. Come back right after the break. All right, let's see. At some point, I think I have live commercials on Facebook or something, and I'll have to stop and be like, coming up after the commercial. All right. Wash all those off. Remember, tell me where you're watching from, and no matter if this is the first time you're watching or the 1,000th time you're watching, what's your favorite sandwich? When is your paint-iversary? Because mine's coming up. I started mine April 12th of 2019. So when did you very first start painting? It's about to be 4 years for me. About to be 4 years, which just blows my mind that it's almost 4 years. Okay, we're gonna come back in here, get all this paint up. You guys should see when I very first started painting, nobody watched my videos. Nobody knew where to find them. I didn't know how to get them in front of people. Like, nobody watched anything. Okay, we're gonna take that dark color over here, maybe just a little bit taller, a little bit fatter, and come in here, start popping up. Right, now we've got hundreds of thousands of people that watch the videos, and it blows my mind the amount of time that you guys spend watching me, and just like all the paintings that I see when they come in, they're just so great. You guys are just fantastic. It just makes me smile. And that's why I missed you guys so much. I had to come back up here, and I had to come back off of vacation and come back and paint, because I just love you guys, and I can't stand being away. Just couldn't stand being away. All the time I was away, I was working anyway. I had to edit videos and put out the new tutorials and make sure all the videos were good. All the little shorts and all the TikToks we got coming out. Tons and tons and tons of stuff. Okay, again, we're gonna come back in here. Gonna load it up, and it might be a little hard to see right now because they're a little dark, and then we're gonna brighten them all up, right? Maybe this guy over here, he had a little friend. Because everybody needs a friend. Maybe this guy was an old, saggy, little downward plopper. Right, we plop down, go back out and back, and out and back and forth, here and there and here. Just texture it, right? Bunch of thick texture in there. And that looks cool. Okay, we got 2 of them in there, or 3 of them in there. We're looking good. You know what, he said we were gonna pop in some grass. So why don't we do our little bit of grass first? We gotta make up the highlight color anyway. So we'll take our yellow and our yellow ochre and this white, since it's already there, and we're gonna mix it all up. Oh, look at that. That's gorgeous, right? Take a little bit of our sap green, mix that in, because you gotta have your sap green and a little bit of our phthalo green. So we got 4 different colors in 4 different piles, all mixed in, all differently across our canvas, right? Look at all those swipes, all those different colors that are in there. Swipe them out. Now, I'm not going into the thickest part. I'm starting down here at the very bottom, right? Loading in the smallest little amount of paint you could possibly think. And who knows, maybe back there, started tapping it out, right? And then we go back in. Maybe there's not enough paint on the brush. I didn't do enough. There we go. Starts coming in. Maybe it falls down. Just by rotating the brush, turning it downward, all of a sudden you can start to create cool little things that start happening, right? Maybe we came into this side, we got a very small little waterfall. And we just start popping in the grass. Maybe this guy comes down all different ways, different angles. See how we're coming to a different, we started over here, we were straight, and then we were changing it and changing it and changing it, allowing the grass and everything to build and grow. Then we come back and we tap it in until it softens itself, leaving the tiniest little dark areas. Look at this, smallest, little tiniest little things, right? We have to leave them in there. All right, why don't we take the waterfall? Who's ready? You guys want to see me put highlights on the trees, or do you want to see the water come down? Which one do you want to see? Hit me with the comments right now. Tell me where you're watching from. What's your favorite sandwich? And watch this sucker come together. Let's see, we want to see the trees, or we want to see the waterfall come? Waterfall, 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 waterfall. Oh my heck, okay. Tons of waterfall comments. All right, this one's gonna go straight down. It's not gonna be a very big waterfall, but he's gonna be there. We're gonna load up our brush, right, both sides of it. And we're gonna come back in here. Maybe we had our little bit of river just with the corner of the brush. Starting to come up. Just back and forth, right? Not filling in every little space. And then we're gonna take our brush like that, just come over to the side. Actually, this guy looks like he wants to go this way. So we'll go over here, have it fall off just like that. Oh, so neat. Look at that. Look at all that. Look at how blue the brush went too. It went crazy amount of blue. So we're gonna use the dry side, or the wet, the dry side. The white side, which is extremely wet. It's not dry. Fall over. Oh, guys, so cool. Right, and then we go back and we adjust whatever we don't like. But just a couple things like that. A couple little swipes, take our brush, just to soften it, going over it with those same little swipes. Just helps soften it down, gives it that rounded feel, right? Very cool, very cool. Come back in here, just swiping, just to make them soft, right? And we'll put a rock over here since we came a little bit too far over on that guy. Or we could just tap in a bit of our grass. You decide what you want it to look like, right? You can have it fall right straight from the grass like that. That looks cool. Very neat. Then you hide whatever you don't like, you know what I mean? So simple. And then our river comes way from back there. We can't even see how far away it's coming from. So cool. Okay, now that we can see where our grass is gonna be, we can come in and light it up a little bit more. Now that we know where we're gonna be, so we're gonna tap in a little bit more into that green and maybe a little bit brighter. Maybe it came down from a little hill up here and started to fall over, right? Not everything is gonna be lit as we're falling over the edge here. And we're gonna try to keep it dark. Don't have to go all the way to the side, right? Very cool. And then just adjust our angles. So it's, see how we're coming in, just tapping, but we're creating that flat angle back there. It's my favorite sound. Oh, it's awesome. Okay, we're gonna come back over here, tapping it in. Not the whole pile, just the very thin part out here. So thin you can almost see through it, right? You don't need a whole big bit. And who knows, maybe we'll come back in here and we'll come down and hit that edge and just roll over, right? Come back in, load up the paint, however bright you want yours to be. Different angle. Right, maybe Maybe these guys are a little bit flatter over here, right? All coming to that same point. All those different little angles working down to that same little point, right? And then if you wanted to turn your brush and fall off, you could. Or come over here and go down. Looks like a claw reaching out. A little bit of finger. There we go. Come back, fill in the top of those bits. Just like that. You got a very cool little thing happening back here, right? All depends on what you want yours to look like. So you're like, you know what? There was a little bit that was just brighter. Like maybe right here was a couple little bits of yellowy flowers or something as they were growing down this little hill, this little curve, and they got lit up at the night. Oh, so gorgeous. So gorgeous. Work them in, right? So it's not all the same. You get the really little bright areas, neat little things. Tap in a little of our yellow ochre, maybe. You know, a couple little yellow flowers start to grow down this side, just so softly touching, right? Not everywhere. They're not all going to be the same amount of brightness or anything like that. Just little things, very cool. And then we work them in, tapping them, making them soft. The more you tap it, the more, you know, the less little details you're going to have, obviously. Just let them work down to wherever this water goes. It's really cool. You know what we could even do? You can take the water, have it hit right here. And just like that, we got a wicked little pool at the bottom. Just because it was something that I saw, right? Very neat. Oh, gorgeous. Look at all that reflection of the light in there. Just because we had some green on the brush, and so it blended in. Got all of our little flowers reaching down for the water. So cool. Okay, let's go back and highlight those trees now. Let's go back and make those trees pretty. Now, in order to do that, we need to get a little bit of our liquid white. We'll use this green down here, make it a little bit darker, right? And then we need to get some of our mineral spirits into the darkest green we have, our sap green. And that way we'll still have some green color, but we won't have, you know, all that thick paint to deal with. So we go into our thinner, right? Look, it wants to drip down. We probably have too much, way too much on the brush. See all that? It's like it's acrylic, right? It's so thin. You don't want to have it so super thin, right? So we'll come in, just trying to find that right consistency of the green, just so where it'll, when we come over here and touch, it'll come off. Now, if that's the dark side, we're going to come over here, just start tapping up that little bit of that darker green into our branches. Little teeny tiny things, just like that. Very cool. Doesn't have to even cover the whole thing. Trust me when I say it doesn't. You have to have those little dark areas where all of our little critters live, right? Where's Peapod the pocket squirrel supposed to live if there's no room down here in the deep dark areas of this tree, right? That's where they want to live. All the little critters want to live down at the deepest, darkest point. So we're going to come back in on our last tree. This was a downward facing guy. So we're going to tap the top, come over here, just start dropping off little bits of green, right? Small little things off the back of our branches. The more we have to push in, the more it's going to ruin all the details. So don't do too many, right? Very cool. We're going to wash all this off. Right into the thinner, into the can, into the bucket, beat the devil out of it, right? Such an easy way to beat the devil out of it and stay clean inside the house. So again, tell me where you're watching from, guys. What's your favorite sandwich? Hit me with those taps. You guys are at like 231,000. We need to be at least 3 times that to hit my like to beat. So not much time left. Let's go into our liquid white. And that green, let's sneak some of that yellow in too. Both those yellows. Bring them down in here. Gives it this really cool feel for me anyway. Start mixing up all those colors just lightly. Back and forth. Now we're going to have a very bright green and then a very dark green as our shadows, right? So take our liquid white. That way it'll brighten it up and it makes it light. So it'll come off the brush easy and stick to our other tree over there. Going through both sides, just like that. Going to come over here, tap our little tree. And just start popping up. See if we can do it. It's like the angle for me is what I'm kind of known for, and then it gets in your guys' way. So let me come over here. It's just like little taps, little flicks, little things. A little bit here, a little bit there, and all of a sudden you get this very cool little tree. And you can always go back and darken it up and brighten it and fix it and do all the other stuff. Cool little things. Take it, put a bush in front of it, do something. Okay, we're gonna come over here, grab some more of our greens, mix those guys up. just so we got a little bit of a change. Come over here. Start slapping up into that tree. Very cool. He's like a big old fir. It's like a Christmas tree, this guy. Not trying to cover all the darkness, right? Leaving some of those bits. Gotta leave those bits. The bits, those are my favorite bits. All right, we're gonna grab a little of our yellow and our phthalo green with some of our thinner. And we're gonna go back over this guy because I don't like the color of him. Just little teeny tiny flicks and taps. There we go. Perfect, right? Changes it up. And the best part about it is if you don't like it, I'll show you how to fix it, right? If it ever starts getting too wet, too crazy, right? Especially with that highlight side, we're just gonna wipe it off. Literally wipe off all the paint that we don't like, splitting our tree down in half, right? Just like that. And then we're gonna come back over here, loading up our dark color. We're gonna redo the other half of our tree. All right, and we'll go out this way. So slapping them out, filling up all that space, slapping in our little bits of tree trunk and little bits of difference, little dark areas, little light areas, right? Now we've got our dark old tree again back there. Now we can redo him. And now just because, right, we're gonna put another one right next to him, a little bit taller too. Just like that, start slapping up, slapping in. And then you get the coolest little things, right? Bring them down, and then we decide where we want this tree to live, depending on how far you bring it down into your scene, right? Then you can go back with your grass and stuff. Come back in, hide the little bits that we don't want to see. Brighten areas up, this, that, the other, just like that. Very cool. Very, very cool. So neat. So again, guys, tell me where you're watching from. I love knowing where you guys are watching from. So hit me in the comments. Where are you guys watching from? What's your favorite sandwich? And what's your paint-iversary? Mine's coming up. It's April 14th. April 14th. By the way, we have to say thank you to Melanie and a lot of other people. There's so many people I can't even remember. When I got home from vacation, I had so many little Amazon gifts to open up. I was so happy. So thank you guys for everybody who sent me something off the Amazon wish list. I just love you guys so much. I just do. Okay, we're gonna come back in. We're gonna load up our little bit of our paint thinner on the brush, a little bit of our dark green. Come in here, gonna tap both the edges, and then we'll just go off the back, making little bits of our dark green, right? Whatever's gonna show is gonna show. It's not gonna be very bright out. We're painting a nighttime scene, right? So it's not gonna be the brightest bit of green you've ever seen. It's supposed to be a dark green. And we kind of got away from that with that tree before, which is why we redid it. So a little bit more, come over there. And just on the left-hand side, because that's where all of our shadows are, right? Popping it in, little things, little taps here, there, everywhere. I don't have to have a lot because it's not gonna show very bright. The waterfall is the focal point. There we go. Now this paint is just way too bright of a color, so I'm gonna get rid of that. Take it over here, get rid of that guy. All right, we're gonna bring down, we're gonna make up a new section. Yellow, green, maybe a little bit of our blue too. There we go. That's what I'm talking about right there. Okay, now we have to work in some of that white, brighten it up. Come back every so often. A little bit more yellow. And it's just, we're just working at it until we like how it looks. And then we know we're good. Excellent. Okay. Now these guys being a little bit further away, I'm going to use this little smaller brush. We're going to come in here, our liquid white. That's what makes it like wet enough to come off and stick onto our other thick bit of paint back there, right? We're going to come over here. Now just the smallest little things at the right angle, right? And we're flicking up and we're tapping here and we're tapping there. And we're just dumping off little teeny tiny things. Because again, these guys are far away, right? And we'll come over here, Start tapping up on this guy, leaving little bright areas just to separate one tree from the other, right? Take our last little bit, come down in here, a little bit more yellow. Here we go. Come over here onto this guy. He's one of those downward sagging trees. So he comes out like this. Remember, just don't cover up all the dark spots. That's what we're trying not to do. Right? And then we come over into our shadowy side a little bit. Gorgeous. Juice. Fantastic. Fantastic. Couple little bits here and there. Little things to look at. All right, we'll throw some foreground in here. We'll be good to go. Maybe we'll put some more flowers on. We'll do all sorts of stuff. All right, I probably got out this red. Maybe let's pop in just a couple little bits of red flowers as they come down, right? Everything's got to grow a little differently. And come over here, a couple little things. Different places, different grow patterns, right? They're not all growing in the same way. Get rid of that paint. Off the brush, wash it off. And who knows? You know what? Let's put a little bush in over here. Gotta love a bush. Right, we're gonna get all that thick, dark paint, the blue, the crimson, the black, onto our Bob Ross 1/2-inch round brush. And maybe over here, pop in just a little bit, kind of hanging off the edge. Go back in, tap up more of that color. And again, if this is your first time watching a Paint with Josh video, tell me where you're watching from. What's your favorite sandwich? Come back in here over our little horizon back there, right? Leaving little bits of grass and little things, little differences in color. Wash that brush off. I'm gonna come back and look at some comments right now. Come on, ladies and gentlemen, tell me where you're watching from. Let's see, Idaho, Alaska, from Oklahoma, Australia. Thank you guys for watching. How do you like this one? Are you guys liking it so far? Let's see, someone said rock. Like I forgot the rock right here. And take our brush, our little fan brush, same amount of dark paint on it, come up in here like this, hiding some of that area, some of our grass behind it, some of our flowers. They have to get lost, right? We can go back over and add them in again. Just down like that. Cool little bit of rock. You can do one on both sides even. Come in here like this. Right, just hides the smallest amount you want to show is what you allow to show. And that rock go over here. And then again, you can feed your grass down back over the top of it. Very cool. Like two little pillars. It's the Southern Oracle right here of waterfalls. All right. Now we're going to come back with our knife. We'll make up some gorgeous little rocky color with our dark sienna and our yellow ochre. And we'll find a place to mix over here. Oh, look at this color, guys. Oh, it's fantastic. A little bit of our darker colors. So now we have two different piles, one darker, one lighter. And we're gonna come back, grab that darker one first. All of our lights off on this side. So we'll grab the darker color, stick it back down here. Right, working it, letting it drag across. All those little differences. Doesn't have to be the most perfect thing you've ever seen, right? Just let it drag differently, and then we'll highlight the other side. Come back over here, same dark. Maybe a little bit back there, or here, or down underneath. That little bit of darkness, right? Very cool. Now, come back with that brighter color. It's not that much brighter, but it is slightly. There we go. Again, very light pressure. Very light pressure. Let it fall off. Fall off, come back in, scrape up a little bit more. Littlest bit you can possibly think. Maybe right on the tip. Not trying to cover up everything, no, right? Just like that, very cool. Oh, I like it. Oh, that's cool. What if there was like a little flat spot where the seagulls came down? A little eagle, maybe an eagle came down. It could sit right there on that little flat area. So neat. Right, just touch it up a little bit. Very cool. Little flat spot for the birdies to sit on and shoot down and get a fish, right? Very cool. Very cool. Let's take our white that we had back in here. A little bit of a spray. Nothing too crazy. Our dry 1-inch brush. Flicking it up over here, here and there. just messing it up a little bit, right? Not allowing us to see every single thing. Maybe we come in with a little bit of white. Drop in a couple little water lines here and there and everywhere. Not allowing them to connect, though. That's the key, right? We don't want them to connect. If they're all connecting, then they're all in one piece. That's very cool. I like that. I like that. Let's see. A little bit of grass falling down here into the darkness. And then we'll highlight these bushes. Take our liquid white. All right, maybe I want like a bright bit of crimson or something. Oh yeah, look at that color. All right, we'll come in here. It's like a, oof, look at that. That is just the most gorgeous thing I've ever seen. Fantastic. We're gonna drop some of those off the side too, like they started to come down. Growing their way down. Oh man, that's cool. Melanie, I might have to buy this one back off of you because I like it so much now. With all this pink in there, it's fantastic. All right, a little bit more of our crimson, a little bit more liquid white. Just bash them in there, that way they'll come off easily. Very cool, not all the same. What do you think of those pink flowers, Melanie? Oh, that's fire. Okay, what are we gonna make the other side? If that side was pink, let's do the other side. I don't know, guys. I don't know. Let's see. Let's do it like that crazy. Let's do it like a crazy yellow. And like the yellow ochre, the cad yellow, a little bit of our liquid white with it. Right, gotta tap it into that liquid white so it helps it come off the brush easier and stick onto our little guy. Oh, that's so nice. Look at that. Not trying to cover every single piece of the bush, right? Just trying to let some stuff show, other stuff not. Oh yeah, oh, so nice. Man, that bush just pops right out into the room. You know what it would look cool too if we had just a little bit of both of these guys in the same bush. Like both the bushes are trying to grow over each other, take over each other. It happens in nature all the time. The seeds get close and they both start fighting for the water and they're like, you know, I'm living here. No, I'm living here. No, I'm living here. And then they go. Let's see if we can't get a little bit. Maybe we'll get some of that sap green. And pop that in. A little of our yellow, a little sap green, a little of our phthalo. Just to have a little bit of green in there. Oh, guys, that is so neat. Oh, it's so fun, so textury too. Well, Melanie, I hope you like this one. It turned out fantastic. I almost want to stay and paint another one. Or maybe we come back tomorrow night and paint another one. What do you guys think? What do you think? Would you want to see me paint another one tonight? Tomorrow night? You're just going to have to follow me. And then whenever I pop up, that's going to be your opportunity, right? We need to make sure that our color remains deep and dark down here. You got to have that darkness at the base of your bushes, otherwise they don't have any depth. If it's all too bright, watch this, right? Pop over it a little bit with those yellows, allowing that darkness to show down underneath. Makes it much more depth filled. Again, you gotta have places for those critters to lay. They gotta get in there. All right, so start coming up with the names. What would you guys name this painting? What would you name it? If you just painted it, what would you name it? I'm gonna sign it, get it ready, we'll flip it around and see what Melanie wants to name it. So drop your name suggestions in the comments below and maybe Melanie will choose what you suggest. Well, guys, I can't wait to see your version of this painting. It turned out fantastic. Make sure you send them into facebook.com/paintwithjosh and we'll see you on the next one. Take care. Have a good day. Boom!